All right. We're live. Might put the notifications out. All right, that's out. That's out. All right. Comic-Con is come and gone. Let's see. All right. A lot of news at Comic-Con, but not much from the DCU, I guess. We got DC comic stuff. We didn't really get much of anything else for as far as DC goes. They didn't really update their didn't get really anything other than Creature Commandos. Alright, so I guess the first thing to get into is the big MCU bomb they dropped last night. Which is that RDJ is going to be playing Doctor Doom. So this means we're still going with the whole multiverse thing, which I was hoping Deadpool and Wolverine would be the last one. They even make a joke about it in the movie, just being like, you know, multiverse stuff hasn't been great. This should be the end of it. Like, they make a joke about that in the movie. And now we're getting more multiverse stuff, which is annoying. I think the only way this RDJ as Doctor Doom thing can work is if they have, like, the real Doctor Doom coming at the end and kill RDJ as Doctor Doom. I think that's the only way it works, because this is really stupid. This is a really dumb idea. Because again, my main concern is the fact that we're still going with the multiverse stuff. Like, we're done. What up, Mr. DC Comics? And I agree. Deadpool and Wolverine was great. I'm seeing it again tonight. I'm seeing it again later tonight. But yeah, why are we doing more? Yeah, exactly. People want the real Victor Von Doom. But it's weird because this is so we're getting the Fantastic Four's introduction into the MCU. Doctor Doom is arguably the greatest Marvel villain. He's up there. We talked about yesterday where he's in top 3 in terms of popularity for Marvel villain, where it's Thanos, Magneto, and him. And instead of actually getting the real Victor Von Doom, we're getting a Tony Stark variant. And this is done for another number of reasons. One of them being, how long is RDJ going to stick around? For one thing, because it doesn't make any sense to bring him back when he's like, what, 60, and this is one of the biggest Marvel villains, and you'd like Doctor Doom to be around a while, and now it's like, well, he's going to be an alternate Tony Stark, and RDJ is probably going to do like 2 movies and then bounce. I don't think he wants to do this forever. I don't think he wants to do it as long as he played Iron Man. What's up, Andreas? I'm doing good, and yeah, I got 2 Superman books I was very happy about recently. I got the book 1 of Kurt Busiek's run, which is sick because finally it's a new collection of that includes Superman Up and Away. I had that old paperback forever, but now finally we got a new we got one that has a lot of the Kurt Busiek Superman stuff, so I was happy about that. And then I got Absolute Superman from Jeff Johns and Gary Frank, which is ginormous, as you can see. For comparison, here's Absolute Doomsday Clock. Here's Absolute Superman. Look at the size difference. Oh my goodness, this thing is huge. But yeah, there's a big boy. But I finally got that because it went on sale, because I didn't want to buy it at the $150 price point. But yeah. Jonathan Majors, that would be great. Imagine. Multiverse is dumb. There's no story integrity. Just make a variant of whoever for whatever reason. Yeah, Multiverse is really dumb here, where I'm done with the multiverse. We've done a lot of stuff with it. Deadpool and Wolverine should have been the last one. We don't need more. Because how everything dealt with Kang and Jonathan Majors. Yeah, exactly. It's literally because of what happened with Jonathan Majors is why we're doing this. They could have just recasted. And as a ton of people point out, Kang's the easiest guy to recast because we already saw there's a billion different versions of him. Like, Kang's the easiest guy to recast. Like, there are others where you can kind of understand maybe be hard to recast. Kang's the easiest. And now it really makes Phase 4 feel like a complete waste, because it's like, what was the point of anything in Phase 4? It built to literally nothing. It built to nothing. So, yeah. But yeah, we got, what's it called? It's going to be called Avengers Doomsday. And then we got Secret Wars the year after that. Also, the Russo Brothers are coming back. I hope they do good, because I really liked all the Russo Brothers Marvel movies. I think are great. But there's stuff they did outside of that. Like, did you guys see The Gray Man? The Gray Man was bad. The Gray Man was bad. And I was excited for that movie. The only good part about that movie is Chris Evans having a blast just playing like an asshole in that movie. But that movie's bad. And yeah, so the Russo Brothers outside of Marvel haven't done very good. But also, Marvel outside of the Russo Brothers hasn't done very good. So maybe just those worlds colliding is what causes them to make a good movie. But they're going to be doing this. It is funny to think that like RDJ was like, okay, I played a comic character for a while, I made a ton of money, I was the highest paid actor for a bit, now I want to go more serious roles and try to get my Oscar. Went, got his Oscars like instantly, and it's like, all right, I'm back to making money now, I got my Oscar, I've got nothing to prove. Only one of the original co-writers from all the Russo MCU films is returning. Well, that's not inspiring. But yeah, with how this goes down, I feel like, again, I feel like you have to have the actual Victor, the actual Doctor Doom come in and kill this version. Because there's an interesting story to be told here with this guy that saved the entire MCU, like in another universe, like one misstep and he ends up being like the greatest villain. That's interesting, but not in place of a real Doctor Doom. If this would have been down the line when we already had a Doctor Doom, it could have been interesting. But as far as like your first introduction to Doctor Doom in the MCU is a variant of Tony Stark. It's like, no, I don't want that. Have you seen Superboy and My Adventures with Superman? I saw something on Twitter about it. Yeah, I don't care about that show at all. I watched like the first 4 episodes of season 1, and I was gonna make a video on it, and then I was like, but then I have to watch the rest of this season. And so then I decided not to do it. You dislike Pedro Pascal, Mr. Fantastic, more than RDJ, Doctor Doom? I mean, he doesn't look like Mr. Fantastic at all, but I like Pedro Pascal. He's been great in like everything I've seen him in. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, I wish they would have cast someone that looked more like Mr. Fantastic. So I get you there, but I disagree as far as I'm more upset about RDJ being cast as Doom. Yeah, 4th attempt at Doctor Doom. It's crazy. And also, knowing that it's RDJ, he's going to be constantly having his mask off. There's no way this guy is going to keep his mask on all the time when it's RDJ playing him. And yeah, like Capes just said, it felt really desperate. It really felt like, oh no, Jonathan Majors had a controversy. What do we do? We can't recast. That's not possible. And then also, you know, something went over their minds where like, what if we get a new person for a new villain or Doctor Doom, and then they have a dispute? It's like, oh, RDJ, we know everything about him. All of his controversies are in the past. We're good. We don't have to worry about this happening again. Ben Affleck could make a great Doom. I don't want to see Ben Affleck as Doctor Doom. I think there's a lot of choices out there. And they went with the safe one to try to. It really feels like them just like reaching back in the bag and being like, we're so desperate. No one comes to see these movies anymore for other than, you know, Deadpool and Wolverine. But for the most part, these movies are on a downward trajectory since Endgame. Like, where we don't know what to do. We'll get RDJ back to play Doctor Doom. And a lot of people are going to eat that up. A lot of people are going to love it. Because I know I see people all over Twitter saying they hate it. But Twitter isn't the real world. You're going to see a lot of people in the real world that are going to love it. And again, they could tell a cool story with it. But it's like we're sacrificing a real Doctor Doom with it. And that's not what we want. Like, we could have had something really cool. But no. I still don't know how they're going to do. Because they said that Fantastic Four takes place in like a retro futuristic 60s. And they said they're going to be in both Avengers movies, though. So I don't know what the process is of getting them to the future, but I guess that doesn't matter. Everything's worlds colliding. We're getting more multiverse stuff with this variant of Tony Stark. So, yeah. Feels like it wants to be animated, not a cartoon made for Superman fans. Have you kept up with Superman and Lois? I need to watch the rest of Superman and Lois. Now, I've seen the first season and a little bit of season 2, but I've not kept up with Superman and Lois. But I liked most of what I've seen from that. I hate when they focus on the Lang family, though. That stuff annoys me. I don't give a crap about any of that. Doesn't take the helmet off. It's gonna still be bad knowing he's the one under it. V for syndrome. it's just, I don't know. It's just such a missed opportunity to actually have Doom. Like, one of the coolest Marvel villains. And he's just, they're sacrificing it for nostalgia bait. I just wish they wouldn't reveal who's playing Doom till the end of Secret Wars. Well, I mean, it would have been really hard to do that when he's in Doomsday, so. Because, like, RDJ is a great actor. I think he'll do a good job, but this isn't what we wanted, you know? This isn't what's needed for Doom. And also, Kang I was interested to see what was going to happen with Kang. As much as they had effed up a lot, like, assuming they got things, like, they figured things out, they could have told some cool stories with Kang. But no, that all goes to the wayside. Thoughts on Marvel adapting Secret Wars? Well, I mean, it's going to be completely different than the comics. I have no idea what they're going to do with Secret Wars. I don't think they're going to follow the comics at all. It's just going to be, you know, name only. But we've known for a while now that they wanted to do Secret Wars. I believe the Russo Brothers even said when they left after Endgame, they're like, the only thing we'd come back for is Secret Wars. I feel like I remember them saying something like that. So this makes sense. How Kevin thought this would be a good idea. Well, yeah, you can see, like, after Endgame, the fact that Kevin lost his mind and had no idea what's going on. They spent, like, $300 million on a Captain America Falcon movie. What? I like Falcon. I don't really like him as Cap. But why are you spending, like, $300 million on that? You think a lot of people are going to come because Harrison Ford's playing Red Hulk? You think that's what's going to get people in? Like, what are we doing? No one cares. Why? I don't understand that. That doesn't make any sense. And then the Captain Marvel sequel. That movie, from the get-go, everyone knew that movie, The Marvels, I think it was called, wasn't going to make jack shit. And then they made it, and guess what? It made no money. Because it's like, who cares about that? No one does. And they still don't have, like, their guy. Like, they still don't have a replacement for Iron Man and Captain America. Because if you're thinking of, like, who's leading the MCU going forward? Who's, like, really at the forefront? Because Deadpool just made a ton of money, but it's obviously not Deadpool. Deadpool ain't going to be leading the way. Spider-Man's still, you know, they're in a marriage with Sony, so it can't be Spider-Man. Is it Doctor Strange? We don't know where Thor sits because Hemsworth has made it very clear that he's pissed about how goofy Thor was in these last couple, and he wants to do a more serious Thor if he comes back. And again, also, you don't know how much longer you have Hemsworth for, because it sounds like Hemsworth kind of wants to do one more where it's good and then leave on a good note. That's the vibe I'm getting from Hemsworth. So it's probably not Thor. Who else do you got? Captain Marvel just made no money. No one cares about Captain Marvel. It's obviously not her. Falcon Cap, we don't know yet. We'll see, but I don't anticipate that making that much money. It's from the writers that wrote the show, and that show sucked. I get you have Star-Lord coming back, but without James Gunn, who knows how that's going to be. And also, again, that's just Star-Lord. Like, the Guardians are all weird now. So it's like, who do you guys... I guess, like, Doctor Strange is the only person I can kind of see as, like, maybe being, like, the... Especially because Benedict Cumberbatch is, like, the one guy that actually watches every MCU movie. Like, I've seen multiple interviews where he's like, yeah, I watch all of the Marvel movies. So he's, like, the one guy that's, like, been there for a bit, isn't on the way out, and would probably do a bunch more movies. So I guess maybe it's Doctor Strange, but that's not very good. You know, that's not, like, strong. I liked him as Doctor Strange. I like Doctor Strange, but that's kind of... It's kind of a weak leader for the MCU right now. And freaking, we have no clue what they're going to do with mutants going forward. What they're going to do with that. Did you not like Guardians 3, Soundwave? Guardians 3 was one of the best MCU movies. I am one of those people that was not the biggest fan of the prior Guardians movie. I thought Guardians 2 wasn't very good. I liked Guardians 1, but I thought it was overrated. But Guardians 3 I thought was amazing. I loved Guardians 3. I thought it was so good. But also, I forgot, Soundwave is like a genuine hater of joy, so there's that as well. Russo's wanted to direct a Batman movie. James Gunn could have gotten them instead of Andy. I think it feels like Andy's getting rewarded for just like somehow getting The Flash made with all like the crap that went on with the production of that movie and keeping Ezra Miller from like murdering anyone during the filming of it. I think that's why they're like, we're rewarding you with Batman. Because I saw some people being like, oh, this guy fell upwards. The Flash didn't make any money. It was a bad movie. Why is he getting it? If you look at all the circumstances surrounding that movie, I think that's why he's getting Batman. Because everything was just insane. The fact that he actually got like a put together movie out there, no matter what you think of it, is crazy. Yeah, Shang-Chi is nowhere to be seen as well with the Condons. Yeah, because I don't think anyone's excited about Shuri as Black Panther. They should have just recast T'Challa. I mean, it's, you know, everything's sad with, you know, Boseman passing and all that, but you still, like, the show must go on. You should have just recasted him. Also, I'm of the mind that Black Panther sequel was maybe the worst MCU movie I've ever seen. That movie was so boring, I hated it. Also, didn't the guy that played Namor like pulled a didn't he pull a Jonathan Majors? He had some controversy. So there's that as well. Who knows what goes on with Namor? So, and again, I've said this a bunch before, where I'm like, I don't know why we don't have a Shang-Chi sequel announcement yet, because I didn't think it was great, but I liked it. I thought it was pretty good, and I thought it was one of the better movies in Phase 4. And I saw, like, it made good money, and all the reviews and everyone I've talked to that saw it really enjoyed it. So Shang-Chi is one of those ones where it's like, why isn't there a sequel to that? But then also, everyone hates the guy that's, like, the lead of that movie. Every time I see anything pop up about that guy on Twitter, it's just people shit-talking that guy. So maybe it has something to do with that. Although, I will say, get rid of Awkwafina. I can't stand Awkwafina. I hate Awkwafina. The actress, not the water. The water's whatever. MCU is terrified of recasting? It seems so. Except they did it with Rhodey, and they did it with Ross. So they've done it. They've done it. Just sometimes they choose not to. Guardians 1 and 2 are so bad, I'm refusing to watch 3 on principle. Wow. 3 is legitimately great. And I'm not the biggest fan of the first 2. But 3 is so good. The reason why Captain America 4 is so high is due to the reshoots. Yeah, but like, why are you spending all this money on reshoots? I don't understand that. Like, what's the point of that? Who cares? You know? Why? Why are we like pulling a solo on this? I hope DCU's Batman is more lighthearted than Dark. We need more of that came out. I don't think he'll be campy, but I do think he'll be more lighthearted because we have the Batman, which is much more like a grounded, sort of darker Batman. So I think that the DCU Batman will be a lighter tone. Welcome War Machine got reused. Yeah, exactly. Like, and I don't think it's like when they wouldn't recast Black Panther, I don't think it's like it seems kind of like they were like doing it out of respect, but it's like it's not disrespectful to recast a character when the actor dies. I don't get that. Like, that's not disrespectful. You know? You don't recast on, like, the day he dies, obviously. That's disrespectful. But, you know, when time passes and everything, you'd be like, all right, we're working on the next movie. We recasted this guy. Like, no one would be like, how dare they do that? It's like, no. But, you know, it goes on. And now it really looks like they should have. Also, I want to... Everyone in the chat, what do you guys think is the worst MCU movie? What is the one that you guys hate the most? Because off the top of my head, I think it might be Wakanda Forever. I don't know if there's one I hate more than that one. That one's so bad. It was so boring. That movie felt like it went on for 5 hours. Wanda is dead. White Vision is gone. Nobody cares about either Hulk now. And no new Hawkeye project that works, I guess. Yolanda saw it, but I can't see her. Yeah, I forgot we have the Thunderbolts movie, which is so... Why do we have a Thunderbolts movie? And I feel like they wasted Sebastian Stan. He did nothing in the Falcon Winter Soldier show, and now he's going to be in Thunderbolts. Oh yeah, I've never seen Captain Marvel, so I've never seen Captain Marvel or the Marvels, so I can't say if that's worse than Wakanda Forever. I haven't seen those. But yeah, I'm so mad they wasted Sebastian Stan because he's great as Bucky. He's great as Winter Soldier. He's great as Bucky. They could have done a lot of cool things with him. Instead, it's like, well, just throw him onto these random projects. Just let Wesley Snipes do another Blade movie and then call it. I mean, I wouldn't be upset about that. That's the thing. Mahershala Ali, great casting as Blade. Super excited about that. And then we've got like 15 million different like directors go on it. And also all the behind the scenes stuff is apparently they wanted to push Blade to the back and like give him a daughter, which I believe they just introduced like recently. By just, I mean like past 6 months or something. They gave him a daughter in the comics to sort of like set it up because in the movie they were going to give him a daughter and it was going to focus on her and it wasn't even going to be about Blade. And that apparently Mahershala Ali was not happy about that. rightfully so. You don't go to a Blade movie and be like, oh boy, I hope Blade's daughter is the main character in this movie. Like, how do you mess up a Blade movie? It's a dude in sunglasses freaking killing vampires. It's sick. It's the Daywalker just destroying. It's the first Blade movie is still, to me, a top tier comic movie. I think it's better than the second one. A lot of people like the second one better. I think the first Blade is better than the second. And then we just don't talk about the third one. But the first Blade movie is still awesome. It's in the works, according to Simu Limu. But, Simu Limu. Well, why haven't we had, like, any official announcement from Marvel, though? Black Widow? Oh, yeah, Black Widow was pretty bad. Thor Love and Thunder was pretty bad. Yeah, I haven't seen Captain Marvel, so I can't say that. Across the Spider-Verse. Had to force myself into it. Literally hate multiverse stuff. Okay. Temple? I like that. I like that take. I don't agree. I think Across Spider-Verse is incredibly overrated, though, because a lot of people think it's like the greatest comic movie ever. I don't think it's bad. I just think it's incredibly overrated. I think it's like a 7 out of 10 movie. But I applaud you, sir, for putting that out there. That's a ballsy take, because everyone, whenever I see them talk about that movie, is just sucking it off. So I applaud that take. Black Widow, Thor 2, or Iron Man 3. But then again, I haven't seen Captain Marvel and much of Marvel Phase 4. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Remember when Thor 2 and Iron Man 3 were like bad MCU movies? Now with the ones we've gotten, it's like, those aren't as bad. Thor Ragnarok or Love and Thunder are trash too. Yeah, they are pretty bad. Turning a serious character with flaws into a clown is a dick move. I agree. They are pretty bad. The worst MCU movie for me is either Eternals or Black Panther, because I was forced to watch both. With Eternals, I was forced to watch it in Bible class. What? You watched Eternals in Bible class? What? By my parents. I don't think the first Black Panther is bad. I don't think it's that good. I think it's all right. The second one's awful, though. Any of the Guardians or Thor Ragnarok? Ragnarok's so much worse than all the Guardians. Although, again, I'm not the biggest fan. I think the second one's not very good. Rather than else to be in the next 2 Avengers films. So what's the point of even doing that movie? Just to set them up so when they show up in those 2 Avengers movies, be like, it's the Thunderbolts. Oh yeah, Reckless. Maybe Thor Ragnarok is worse than Thor: The Dark World. I think Ragnarok's worse than The Dark World. I would say that. Just got seated for Deadpool. Nice. No, Brandon, no spoilers, because it's still opening weekend. I've already seen it, but we're not discussing spoilers for that because it's still, yeah, it's still too early. So don't talk about spoilers in the chat, please. If you do, you will be timed out. Deadpool and Wolverine did not save the MCU. Well, yeah, it takes a lot to save the MCU. Deadpool and Wolverine is like more of like an actual contained thing, surprisingly. It doesn't like do anything for the future of the MCU. So let's focus on characters rather than who's stronger. Okay, what about you? Yeah, like I opened up the stream saying that one of the big things I was upset about with RDJ being cast as Doctor Doom is this means we're going to continue with the multiverse stuff. Like, the multiverse stuff needs to stop. We've gotten so much of it. In Deadpool and Wolverine, they even make a joke about how the multiverse stuff has been bad and this should be the last one. They even say it in the movie. And then they just keep going. It's like, we don't need more multiverse stuff. We don't need it. You can tell good stories without it. We don't need multiverse constantly. How do you feel about Captain America New World? Everything I've seen from it does not look good, which is sad because I like Anthony Mackie and I think he's great as Falcon and I think they could do some cool stuff there, but I don't need him as Captain America, and the Captain America and Winter Soldier show was awful. And I think it's going to be more like the show, and I don't need more of that. And also, like, Falcon Captain America versus Red Hulk doesn't get me excited. That's not like a matchup that I'm like, oh, I've been waiting for this. Yeah, I agree. I'm really tired of multiverse nonsense as well. As a Spider-Man fan, I don't care for the Spider-Verse movies. Miles is not Spider-Man. Peter Parker is the Spider-Man. Careful on Twitter. They'll call you an extreme racist. But I mean, everyone knows that, obviously. Like, Miles Morales is a Spider-Man. He's one of them. But when you say Spider-Man, everyone's like, Peter Parker? No one, unless they're trying to, like, make a point or do a gotcha, hears Spider-Man and thinks Miles Morales. That's just how it is. It's the same thing when freaking Dick Grayson was Batman. I never referred to him as Batman. I was like, Dick Grayson Batman, because he's not Batman. Bruce Wayne is. It's the same thing. Like when you have an iconic character like that, that's been that for so long, as much as you want to say they're that character, they're not. It's just, it's the way it is. It's just how the world works, and people get upset about it. Like, sorry. Like, I like both Spider-Verse movies, but again, on like a 7 out of 10 level. Like, they're good. I don't hate them, but my goodness, when every time I got out of the theater and then I'd like look at, see what people thought and just see like, these are the best movies of all time ever. And I'm like, what? Is Thunderbolts a ripoff of Suicide Squad? Essentially, it seems like that's what they're going for in the MCU, yeah. Unpopular opinion, Deadpool and Wolverine was better than The Flash. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion at all. I'm happy it's exam because we got a beginning, middle, and end. Yeah. My Bible teacher got lazy a few days before spring break, and the unit was on worldviews and philosophy, so he rented Eternals and played it and has to write an essay about it, so she hated it. Nice. Let's see. Sorry, I just lost my place in chat. Uh-oh. They want to do Young Avengers. Yeah, they've been trying to set that up for a while, but by the time they get to it, they're all going to be old. It's not going to be young anymore. I want Victor Von Doom, not Tony Stark. I agree, and I think pretty much everyone else does. What up, Jim Harrison? I honestly don't understand why so many people eat those cameo fests up. I'm glad some people enjoy them, truly. Don't get me wrong. It's never going to stop. People are going to keep eating those up. Yeah, but also, like, again, I won't spoil anything for Deadpool and Wolverine. But the cameos in that are used in a way that services the story, and those cameos actually like have purpose, and they're not just, other than like 2 cameos in the movie, they're not just, hey, look, it's that guy. Like those cameos actually like have things to do and serve the story, compared to like the end of The Flash where it's just, hey, look at that guy. So I'll say that for in defense of that. It's even compared to like Multiverse of Madness, where again it's like, oh, there's Reed Richards, and like they don't actually do anything. In Deadpool and Wolverine, they actually like help the story and serve a purpose. And like the cameo, this is probably, as far as cameo fests go in comic movies, I think Deadpool and Wolverine probably did it best. So I will say that. What's a Hulk? Dude, I loved seeing the stuff of, I saw some clip today where someone was like, who would handle snakes better, Indiana Jones or Red Hulk? And then like Harrison Ford says something like, I always handle all these questions with disdain, and I will say I don't care about those questions, something along those lines. Mike Ortega with the $5. Thank you for the $5. Appreciate it. Do you think DC and Marvel should only put out one a year each so superhero movies can feel like an event again? That's how Deadpool and Wolverine felt. I think with certain series, definitely. Like, I think doing back-to-back Avengers movies is kind of dumb. I like the build-up in between Avengers movies. And I do agree with, like, with Deadpool, it was nice having all that time in between, which I assume partially was caused by the pandemic. But having that time in between really felt nice, especially with a character like Deadpool, because I love Deadpool, but if you get a lot of Deadpool, it can get real annoying real fast. So I think that break definitely helped. And I think there definitely should be some breathing room. But it depends on the characters and what's going on, because there are some where you have to think about real life application where it's like these actors aren't getting any younger, and you got some people, and it's like, you know, they're getting older and older, and if you wait, then, you know, yeah, they'll age out. But yeah, I do think they need to not focus on just trying to pump these things out as fast as possible, actually putting care into it and take time, and audiences will be fine with it. Like, these things come and go so fast. It felt like just yesterday that that Deadpool and Wolverine was just announced. And I remember when it was announced, it's like 2024. It's like, oh, that's so far, and now we're here, you know? So I think they should take their time. So yeah, I think they should give us some time between, make you actually want it and miss it, because the oversaturation definitely hurts. But that being said, the Batman can go a little faster. We can speed up production on that one a little bit, I'll say. You know, there are some where it's like, every time I look at the Batman, I feel like the release date gets like another year away. It's like, oh, Batman's come out in 2034 now. Oh boy, I can't wait. Like, every time I see an announcement about the Batman 2, we're getting farther away. Better for Miles to become his own hero instead of being in the shadow of Peter Parker would be the main Spider-Man. Miles would be his own hero instead. Win-win. Yeah, but it's hard to do. He's a Spider-Man. I think it would be cool if they just gave him like a spider-adjacent name. But like the main problem with Miles Morales is the fact that he was created by Brian Michael Bendis and was just a complete copy paste of Peter Parker, and he didn't really become his own character until these movies where Lord and Miller gave him an actual arc and made him an actual character. Because prior to that, it was Bendis just being like, "What if Spider-Man was black?" And that was like it. That was the entirety of his pitch, and he's like, "Wow." And that was it. And like the first couple issues sold well because everyone was like, "Wow, what if Spider-Man was black?" And then they read it and they're like, "Oh, but it's being written by Bendis and it's bad." And then the movies came out and they're like, "Hey, we're going to make Miles an interesting character where he's not just a repeat of Peter Parker." And people are like, "Wow, Miles is actually cool." And yeah, so you have that conflict. And now the comics are trying to catch up with the movies and be like, "Oh, we got to make him more like that because that's where he's interesting." You know? But that's how it be. Joker 2 feels like an event for you. I'm going to be honest, I could not care less about Joker 2. I saw the first one, thought it was fine. I have not had an inkling at all to rewatch the first one ever since. And then when the second one was announced, I'm like, I don't care. It's crazy that the first one made $1 billion. I'm happy it did make $1 billion purely because it lets the studios know that R-rated comic movies can make a lot of money, just like Deadpool has. So I hope we get more R-rated movies because it's cool seeing these comic characters actually not be held back by a PG-13 rating. Ooh. Well, the Batman Part 2 in October 2026. Yeah, assuming also we stay on that. That's so close to the end of 2026. We're going to get into 2027 if there's any delays. Yeah, I love Harrison Ford. Do you think Venom 3 will be good? I think it'll be the exact same as the first two, where it's like a dumb, fun time, but nothing special. Is Sentry still happening? I have no idea. The Young Avengers now set in the nursing home, essentially. Are they still making Doctor Strange 3 or Spider-Man 4? And is the Blade movie still happening? Kevin Feige just came out and said the Blade movie is happening and it's R-rated, so assuming that what he says is true, yes. Spider-Man 4 was never officially announced. They've just been talking about it, but that's never actually been announced. We don't know. I have no clue about Doctor Strange 3. I have not heard anything about that. I have no idea about Doctor Strange 3. Someone in chat might know, but I do not. Remember King Dynasty and Secret Wars were initially slated to be released in the same calendar year? Yeah, that's so dumb. Like, for these type of movies, we don't need that. Remember, like, when you anticipated the release of, like, these Avengers movies, and, like, I like having the breathing room between. You got to think about it. I like that. But no. Mahershala is gonna have dentures by the time that Blade movie comes out. It seems like it. Yeah, I agree. I think Krasinski actually would have been a better casting than Pedro Pascal, as much as people hated him. I agree there. Do you think Amazon's Batman Cape Crusader show will be good, even though Penguin has been gender swapped as a woman? I hope it's good. I've seen a lot of dumb things, though. I just saw something with the Harley actress being like, Harley's not held down by Joker. She's her own woman. It's like, Harley's not a good person and is an awful person, and I don't care about her being her own person and her own woman. And so every time I hear people girl boss with Harley, it's like, Harley's a, like, horrific person. Why are we doing this? And yeah, so I don't know. I hope it's good. I'm excited to watch it, but every time I see something new about it, it sounds like there's something dumb in it. So I don't know. That James ever read before? No, that was Robert, my brother-in-law. Robert never cared about comics or anything, but both Spider-Verse movies are like two of his favorite movies. And after the first one, he went and he bought or like rented from the library the first volume of Miles Morales Spider-Man and talked about how awful it was, and he didn't read anything else after. Yeah, and he loved the Spider-Verse movies. Now, would you cast as Doctor Doom? I heard some people saying Dan Stevens, and I'd be down for Dan Stevens doing that. I love Dan Stevens. I think that'd be cool. Thoughts on Creature Commandos trailer? It looks all right. At least the animation isn't like that weird CGI type animation, so I'm happy about that. What are your thoughts on the Fantastic Forecast? I think Vanessa Kirby is perfect as Sue, but who else do we got? We got the one dude from freaking, he was in a couple episodes of Andor. I've never seen the bear, so all I know is him from Andor, and he's fine, I guess. We got Joseph Quinn. We'll see how he does. The rest of the cast I'm kind of meh on. I like Vanessa Kirby. Everyone else I'm kind of like, we'll see how they do. Not super excited about the rest of the cast. What's the future for Henry Cavill? Warhammer. He's doing a what's it called? He's doing a Highlander remake with Chad Stahelski, the director of all the John Wick movies. That has me hyped. That movie's going to kick so much ass. I can't wait for that. But he's doing Highlander remake. I believe it's like his next big thing. He's working on an Warhammer 40K show for Amazon Prime, and he's going to be in a Guy Ritchie movie with Jake Gyllenhaal, I believe, as well. And Guy Ritchie's my favorite director, and they've made 2 good movies, so I'm excited to see what he does next with him. But as far as comic book stuff, I don't think he's in anything. Unless Marvel poaches him somehow, because obviously he's not in anything DC, because DC wasted him. That's something that, like, man, I think Corn Sweat was a good casting for Superman. I'm excited to see how he does. But just seeing Henry Cavill in, like, day-to-day life, when I just see, like, paparazzi pictures, I'm like, that's freaking Superman. Compared to when I see Corn Sweat, like, actually in the Superman suit, I'm like, that's David Corn Sweat as Superman. But, like, I see just Henry Cavill, like, they're posting something about, like, him with, like, his pregnant girlfriend, and I was like, he looks like Clark Kent. That's like freaking Superman. Oh, I'm so mad they wasted that casting so much. Was also Micro? Oh yeah, he was Micro. I forgot about that. Wasn't Warhammer and definitely delayed or something like that. I think you're right. I heard something like that. Something about something going on. I don't know if Soundwave's still in here. I know he's a Warhammer fan, so he might know. I don't know. Are you a fan of the new Energon universe? I like the stuff they've done with G.I. Joe before, other than Kelly Thompson's Scarlet book. That book sucks ass, but everything else I've read is good. Cobra Commander was pretty good. I really like Duke. Destro 2 issues in, I like. It's not great, but I like it. Scarlet 2 issues in has been awful. But I'm excited for the main G.I. Joe book, and I'm excited to see whenever Snake Eyes gets introduced, because Snake Eyes hasn't shown up yet, and he's obviously the biggest G.I. Joe character. He's the most popular, so they're saving him for something. I can't wait. I hope they don't destroy him or waste him, because I was very upset when they introduced the Arashikage clan in the Scarlet book. It's like, why are you giving that to Kelly Thompson? And then she's just done a bunch of dumb shit with it. Have you seen Argyle with Henry Cavill? Yeah, Argyle is probably the worst movie I've seen this year, sadly. The trailers and everything, I was like, oh, I hope it's good. I like everyone involved with this movie. It's bad. No. If DC revealed Justice 3, they would have won me. Alright, so we also got comic book stuff announced, though. We talked about the MCU. We also got actual comic book stuff announced. So Jeff Lemire is going to be writing a JSA comic, and he's doing it with Diego Olortegu. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm very sorry. He did the art on the Jay Garrick Flash book with Jeremy Adams. I don't know if any of you guys read that. It's like a 6-issue miniseries. It's amazing, and his art is killer. He's so good. So I posted, actually, when I was reading through it, I posted a page of it on my Twitter. I'll get it up. Yeah. Hold up. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, this is him. He's really good. This guy's, and he's going to be doing the art on the JSA book. As you can see, he draws a sick Jay Garrick. So, and Jay Garrick's going to be part of this. So, excited about that. I have like some bullet points from this tweet that says, this is a book that Jeff Lemire has dreamed of writing his whole life. The Injustice Society is a big part of it. There's already planned crossovers between Justice League Unlimited, which is the new Mark Waid book that was announced. And that and the JSA books will be crossing over. They also have their own room in the Watchtower. And it's supposed to be like a big story. And also, first 2 issues will begin in Absolute Power, which I'm not a fan of that because I hate Absolute Power, but we'll see how that goes. But I'm excited for him doing JSA. He's got like 3 books, Jeff Lemire, which I'm so happy about. The Warhammer Amazon series currently in the same state as all other properties under complete radio silence. You'll see something when it's either canceled or done. Oof, that sucks. That sucks. Every time I hear anything about Games Workshop, though, I hear like their fans complaining about how they mishandled like 20 different things. So that's tough. I did just finally beat 40K Space Marine, though, because the sequel comes out in like a month or 2. It was awesome. And then I looked, I was like, oh, is there a way to get into the lore? And then I looked at some stuff, and I was like, oh my god. Because I was like, maybe there's some cool comics I can read. And they're like, oh, there's a couple good comics, but they cost $300 because they never got reprinted. I was like, oh, okay, I'm not getting into Warhammer, I guess. Sad that Mark Strong's not coming back to voice the main character in the sequel, though. What's your thoughts on Transformers 1? I've never been a Transformers fan. I don't really care. Sad that they're doing the whole we're casting celebrities as these guys instead of the iconic voices behind them. I get their younger versions. I don't care. Why do you hate Absolute Power? Because it's just another dumb event that I don't care about at all. And the first issue was just meh. And I'm not excited about anything going on with it. There's also an actor strike with video games, meaning most comic games might be delayed. Oh, yeah, I heard something about that. I saw something on Twitter talk about that. Do you think Batman Arkham Shadows will be good since it's a sequel to Arkham Origins? Is that VR game? I have no idea. The novels, though. Are any of the Warhammer comics good? Like, are any of the Warhammer comics worth reading? And will I understand any of it? Because I just went through, like, different threads, and like some people be like, yeah, it's good. But anyways, back to Jeff Lemire. He's doing JSA. He'll be doing Absolute Flash, which will be Wally West in the Absolute universe. And he's also doing a Batman and Robin sequel, which this will be focusing on Jason Todd as Robin, which is cool because he talked about how he's like, Jason Todd didn't really have much time as Robin, and he didn't do anything significant, and then he just died. So he wanted to tell a story during that time when Jason Todd was Robin. I think that's a great idea and an unexplored aspect of the DC universe that I'm excited for. And also, we're going to get Disco Nightwing showing up during that. So that's got me excited. Mark Wade's a tool, but I'm excited for Justice League Unlimited. Mark Wade is obviously a tool, but that's never been like what's bothered me. He says retarded stuff all the time. I've just never been the biggest fan of his writing. I know a lot of people love it and think he's one of the greatest comic writers ever. Every time I read a Mark Wade book, I'm disappointed because I have all these expectations from everyone saying how amazing it is. Then I read it and I'm like, it's alright. I just never been the biggest Mark Wade fan, regardless of whatever retarded stuff he says on Twitter or whatnot. How do you feel about Spider-Girl being in the main universe and not Mayday Parker? I don't really care about any of the Spider stuff, to be honest. I'm reading Ultimate Spider-Man, and that's it. I've never been the biggest Spider-Man fan. The height of my Spider-Man fandom was during Spectacular Spider-Man. I love that show, but I've never been a super huge Spider-Man fan. Objection of the actual good Warhammer comics, if that's your first entry. Well, that's good to know. Yeah, Robin and Batman was good. I'm so happy that Jeff Lemire is making a return to DC Comics. Do you think Amanda Waller's overrated? She is getting her own show. Yeah, I talked about this a little bit in my Absolute Power video, that I think Amanda Waller is, we don't need more Amanda Waller. Amanda Waller's fine when used, like, seldomly, but she's way overused right now. What's your Mount Rushmore of comic book writers? Mine, Walt Simonson, Jeff Johns, Neil Gaiman, and Jeff Loeb. Ooh, that's hard. Jeff Johns is definitely on there. Marv Wolfman's definitely on there. Jeff Johns, Marv Wolfman. Gosh dang. That's a hard question. Jeff Loeb might be on there. It's hard to say if Jeff Loeb be on there. Man. That is a really hard question. Ooh, I'm not putting Claremont on there as much as I like Claremont, because he's outside of X-Men. He hasn't really done much. And like, I'm thinking about people with like longevity in their careers. I guess I put Jeff Loeb on there as well. I don't know who would be my fourth. Who would be my fourth? There are so many different options. It's a hard question off the top of my head to answer. Like, if I really thought about it, I could give you an answer. But off the top of my head, maybe Ed Brubaker, actually. I like everything I've ever read from Ed Brubaker. Ed Brubaker might be up there. So, Jeff Johns and Marv Wolfman 100% would be on my Mount Rushmore comic writers. Then probably Jeff Loeb and Ed Brubaker. But it's hard to say. It's hard to say about the other two. The only two I'm 100% on are Jeff Johns and Marv Wolfman. Those guys, they've had such like long careers, and like everything they do is just amazing. It's really hard to find something that's bad that they've written. You can find it, but it's really hard. And I've just loved everything they've done. So, yeah, that'd be hard. Yeah, I like Spider-Man. I have nothing against Spider-Man. I'm just not like super into him. I'm Mount Rushmore, Johns, Loeb, Gaiman, and Claremont. Nice. Bendis, King, Taylor. Yeah. The GOATs, obviously. The best comic writers there are. LCS, let me put a CGC 4 copy of Batman 232 for ooh, on layaway. Nice. That's sick. I never liked Hickman by levels. Spider-Man. Hickman's a guy that I feel like if you can nail him down to like anything under like 6-7 issues, he generally does pretty good. But once he gets beyond that, I don't know. He just loses it. Like if you can keep Hickman like on a lower issue run, he's like pretty good. But then past that, it's just like, what are we doing when I'm reading a Hickman comic? Now, what is your Mount Rushmore of comic book artists? Mine, Jim Lee, Tim Sale, Gary Frank, and George Perez. Alex Ross will be there, but well, I definitely have 2 of yours on there. George Perez and Gary Frank are definitely 100% on there. Who else would I put on there? John Byrne. I have John Byrne on there. So, Gary Frank, John Byrne, and George Perez. I'd either have to put Mark Silvestri or Jim Lee probably as my 4th. It's hard to say. Because the thing is, like, Jim Lee has, like, given up. If you see anything new Jim Lee does, it's like this guy has more talent than this, but it's like he's just coasting. Like, when Jim Lee cares, he does so good. But, like, he's just so, like, doesn't care anymore. Andrea Sorrentino's definitely up there. But it's hard to say because Andrea Sorrentino's had, like, a shorter lifespan. He's had, like, a shorter career. I love Sorrentino, though. Sorrentino's definitely one of my favorites. But I don't know if I put him on my Mount Rushmore just because he's, like, he's had a shorter lifespan on the career. Are you going to make a spoiler review for Deadpool and Wolverine? I did it on the podcast. I'm not going to make a video on it, but if you guys want to see it, I did it on the podcast, which is linked in the description. It's on Spotify. It's on Podbean. It's on Apple Podcasts. It's on everything. It's called Nerd Talk. So here, I will show you guys real quick. So this is, yeah, if you want to see it on Spotify or on Podbean, we did Deadpool and Wolverine review. We do no spoilers, and then we give a warning, and we go into spoilers. Talked about it for 45 minutes. So if you want to hear me talk about Deadpool and Wolverine spoilers, you can go listen to it there. But yeah, I'm not going to do a video on the channel about it. That because he's busy with the con. Yeah, but also all the behind the scenes stuff are about apparently Jim Lee's kind of like a figurehead and doesn't actually do anything at DC and is pretty lazy and he's kind of just draws variant covers and he's, yeah, which makes sense because if you see how DC's been handled, Jim Lee has been there the whole time and hasn't really helped with anything. The worst writer for me is between Bendis and Ta-Nehisi Coates. I've read very little Ta-Nehisi Coates. The little bit I have read is just awful. How do you pronounce Ra's al Ghul? Ra's al Ghul, because of Batman the Animated Series. That's how I pronounce it. Worst comic book writers? I don't know. There's too many to choose from. Kung Fu Panda, Spotify account, damn straight, dude. That soundtrack slaps. Where's Tom King and Tom Taylor in your Mount Rushmore? They're like, there's the bad guys that fall off of Mount Rushmore in the, if you've seen North by Northwest, remember that guy that's like going after, and he just freaking falls off? That's them. That's who they are. Trying to get Cary Grant. Alright, what else did we get? Jeff Lemire confirmed Miss Terrific, Cyclone, Stargirl will show up in his JSA run. He teased Huntress, but didn't really say. He also said Hourman is his favorite DC character, so we're going to be getting some Hourman content. We got a New Gods series, which a lot of people are hyped about. I'm not hyped because Ram V is writing it. Ram V's done some good stuff, but my problem is Ram V's plots move at a snail's pace. They are so slow. So I'm not excited. Ram V isn't like a horrific, awful writer or anything. It's just, man, he needs to hurry up. Like his Detective Comics most recent stuff, I've only read a little bit of it, but I tuned in for a few issues and I was like, this is boring as it can be. Brandon Easton. I've heard you talk about Brandon Easton a lot. You're a goat. He's there, but he's not in charge. Yeah, basically. Tom King's both underrated and overrated. Yeah, depending on who you're talking to. I personally despise Tom King. He's written some good comics, but it feels like on accident, and most of his stuff's pretty bad and pretty boring, and he's not someone that's good at speaking in the voice of the characters. Every time he writes a new character, it's Tom King talking, not the character talking. I'm always brought back to like a bit from Peter Tomasi where he's talking about, I think it was when he was writing like Green Lantern Corps, and he's talking about like he's writing all the different Green Lanterns. He's like, he'd write a bit of dialogue for like Guy Gardner or something, then he'd read it out loud as if he's Guy Gardner. He'd be like, would Guy Gardner say this doesn't sound like Guy Gardner? And he'd do the same when it's like John Stewart and Hal Jordan, blah blah blah. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Tom King's never done that once in his life. So yeah, I don't get the hate for Taylor. He literally made Justice and Deceased great. Elseworlds, yeah, he makes some good Elseworld stuff. I don't care for his Injustice stuff. I think his Injustice stuff is pretty bad, but I love Deceased. Deceased is great. I love every iteration of Deceased. But his Nightwing started off okay and then got incredibly boring, and it took like 30 issues to get through like one arc. It was really boring and bad, and he didn't understand Nightwing at all. What he did with John Kent was so annoying and awful. His Superman, the Son of Kal-El, he goes to the Injustice universe and gives Injustice Superman a hug. You know, like Hitler Superman, he gives a hug, so that's great. He's just, yeah, Tom Taylor on in-canon stuff, he's bad. Also, he is in denial about being bald. He won't ever take off his stupid little hat, which doesn't make any sense. You're not fooling anyone, bud. We all know you're bald. Is Jeff Johns writing a new Flash series? Not that I know of. He's just doing all Ghost Machine stuff. I don't know if there's any DC stuff he's gonna be working on, because he's doing JSA currently, but he's gonna be off that because Jeff Lemire's doing it. So I don't know if there's any DC stuff in the future right now announced for Jeff Johns. But Ghost Machine is awesome, by the way. If you're not reading Ghost Machine, all their series are great. They got Redcoat, they've got Geiger, and they've got Rook Exodus. All three of those books are amazing, with 3 different really good artists too. Yeah, him writing the Lantern show is a dumb choice. I agree, Mr. DC Comics. Philip Kennedy Johnson would have been a perfect fit for New Gods. That is right up his alley. Oh my goodness, he could have killed it. Philip Kennedy Johnson would have killed it on New Gods. I'm glad New Gods is getting a book, but yeah, Ram V is like, it's going to be pretty boring. Are you hyped for the Penguin? Kind of, because I love the Batman. I think it's a great movie, and I like Colin Farrell as Penguin. So, and all the trailers look good, so I'm excited to see how it is. Thoughts on Dan Jurgens? I love Dan Jurgens. I think he's done a lot of great stuff. He wrote not too long ago that backup story about young John Kent in Action Comics, and it was great. And it was one of the few times I've read one of those backup stories, because every time they throw like a garbage ass creative team on a backup story on like Action Comics to justify charging you $5 for it, and I never read them. It's like, oh, here's some writer that sucks on Power Girl or something, and it's like, I'm not reading that. That's not why I'm picking this up. What's good, Shinobi? Daniel Warren Johnson ain't really underrated anymore. His Transformers book's been selling insane. I'm pretty sure it's been like the top 10, which has been crazy. It's been outselling a lot of like the big hitters. And also, I think he just won an Eisner, which in my opinion doesn't mean anything, because the Eisner Awards are just a bunch of friends giving each other awards. That's why Tom King gets one like every year. I don't think the Eisners mean anything, but he won one, and so he's getting recognized by his peers. And also, again, I think Transformers is selling insane right now, so he's finally getting recognized. How would you retcon Tom Taylor, John Kent, and give us the real John Kent? It's very simple. You just say that when John left Ultraman, it wasn't actually our John. That was their John. That's why he was aged up. Our John, Prime John, is still on that world, and you could tell a really cool story of him trying to escape, and it turns out freaking gay John is a bad guy, and you gotta figure that out because he's part of Ultraman's crew. So you can do a really cool story with that. They'll never do it. If they hadn't made him bisexual, they could do it, but now they can't. Now that they did that, they can't change him. They can't be like, actually, he's not our John, he's a bad guy. So they'll never do it. But That's the easiest way to retcon him. Is to be like, it's actually not Arjon. But, yeah. Thoughts on Barry Allen's time in DC being over? I'm happy because Wally's back. I'm sad because I like Barry better than Wally. I think there's places for both of them to exist. I love Wally as well. But yeah, I wish we would just have both of them. It's kind of, it's annoying because I really like Barry a lot. So basically, Josh Williams and Scott Snyder are now in charge of DC continuity. Essentially, he's not doing much recently. Yeah, Jim Lee's never done much. That's why, like, when Dan DiDio was there, Dan DiDio got all the heat because Dan DiDio did everything. Jim Lee, apparently, like, as co-publisher, like, never did anything. That's like all the behind-the-scenes stuff you hear people talking about that actually worked there. Is like Jim Lee never did anything. He like sits in meetings and doodles. Like he doesn't actually do anything. But he gets paid a lot of money to do nothing, to just be like a figurehead. Christopher Judge is Darkseid. I mean, he's got a cool voice. Maybe I wouldn't hate it, but I mean, it would be really cool if they could get what's his name? They get Michael Ironside. That'd be so cool. Seeing Michael Ironside would be sick. You know, because you can just CGI him and just have Michael Ironside's voice. It worked with Thanos. You don't like Transformers or Energon? Everyone I talked to loves that. I read one issue of it, but it was a later issue, and I didn't know what was going on, so I couldn't properly judge it. It was like issue 10. But everyone I talked to loves Daniel Warren Johnson's Transformers. It's like amazing. But I'm not a Transformers fan, so I can't really weigh in. Favorite and least favorite Superman run and why? Favorite is Jeff Johns, because Jeff Johns always does a good job at like getting to the core of the character and why you love them and displaying that. And he always like understands the character he's writing. And least favorite is Bendis. I made like an hour-long video on, or like 30-minute video on that if you want to hear really why I don't like what Bendis did. But Bendis was the opposite of Jeff Johns, where he didn't understand anything about the character and ruined him. So, favorite Jeff Johns, least favorite is Bendis. Mark Millar Nemesis book is back. I know a lot of people like it. I've never read it. It's Jeff Lemire writing episode of that. Yeah. Did you ever finish Suicide Squad game? No. Is there any movies to look forward to after Deadpool and Wolverine? I want to see Gladiator 2 and Aliens. Yeah, there's plenty of movies. Trap. I'm seeing Trap next week. That's the Shyamalan movie. That looks good. All right, what else did we get announced at Comic-Con? I've always talked about New Gods. Ranvi said it's a story about fatherhood. It said it will focus on High Father, Light Ray, Orion, Mr. Miracle, and Big Barda. So standard. I like Orion a lot. I think Orion is a really cool character. Forever people will be involved. Fall of Scott Free and Big Barda's new baby and how parenthood affects their lives. There's a new god who's set to arrive, which will complicate things. Absolute and all-in triggers a cosmic imbalance, which starts this spiral between New Genesis and Apocalypse. So absolute power is what's going to kick this off. Just like a lot of these events. We got Justice League Unlimited from Dan Mora and Mark Waid. I don't care about that. I know a lot of people do, but they're like trying to reinvent the Watchtower as well. That's kind of the big comic book stuff we got. Yeah, Ryan's sick. How many issues do you think the Absolute DC books are going to have? Is it going to go short or really long, like Ultimate Spider-Man? I hope Martian Manhunter gets like 100 issues. He needs it. Ironically enough, I think Martian Manhunter is one of the ones that's going to get like 8 issues and then get canceled. Because it's the guy that's writing Ultimates that's writing it. I don't know if you've read Ultimates, but it's pretty bad. So I'm not excited about that. I love Martian Manhunter. I think he's cool and underrated. But we're not getting a good writer on that. So I don't think that'll go. I think Batman will go for a while, obviously. Superman and Wonder Woman will probably go for a good amount of time. But it's all the others that are question marks. Who knows how long everything else will go? I have no clue how the others will sell. So that's going to be hard to say how long they go. But I think the Trinity will probably go for a good bit. But everything else, who knows? Also, because by this time next year, we might be talking about DC's doing another event or blah, blah, blah. Because DC just can't stop with these stupid events. Absolute true. It's just stale. Feels like the man put the 80s cartoon on paper and I already thought the 80s cartoon was bad. Damn. So what got you into Transformers then if you didn't like the 80s cartoon? To sell DC characters, make it a universe. Well, like, a lot of these characters are supposed to be hitting public domain, right? Like, soon? Aren't Superman and Batman supposed to be hitting public domain soonish? So we might be getting something like that. Like, in the next, like, 5-10 years. So, I don't think the Absolute Universe will last longer than 10 years. Very possible. We'll see. It also depends, like, how drastic they go with these. It depends on if they do anything, like, insane. Or, like, anything to try to grab headlines. Because they could easily make they could change the sexual orientation of one of, like, the Trinity or something. And that'll clearly make headlines. And then that issue will be big. Like, if they decide to make Superman gay or bisexual or something, an Absolute, that'll be big. Or same with Batman. That would be very funny, though, if they made, like, Batman a gay bottom. This, like, 6'6", 250 pound. The gigantic Batman just gets plowed. That would be pretty funny. But yeah, I like what he's doing. Since comics got sent away from Transformers. Oh, true. That makes sense. Got in Transformers, the Activision games, IDW comics. Ew. Is there a John Wick movie coming out this year? No, we just had one last year. We're having the what's it called? The ballerina movie that I think comes out next year. I don't think that's this year. But as far as new, like, actual in the John Wick series, we have nothing announced for that. But spin-offs, we have that, like, ballerina movie. I don't know when that comes out. Yeah, he has, like, lava forearms. Absolute Superman. I don't know what that's all about, but we shall see. Man, so as far as Comic-Con goes, there wasn't a whole lot of announcements that excite me, but I'm excited for Jeff Lemire on Flash, JSA, and that Batman and Robin book. Those are the two that those are the 3 books I'm excited about. So basically, Jeff Lemire is what I'm excited about after Comic-Con. Other than that, there's nothing that really excites me. I don't care about the Mark Waid. I don't care about the fact that DC's doing more Mark Waid stuff. I don't care about Absolute Universe. Nothing really gets me excited here. Nothing's, like, got me super stoked from 2023 to 2024. So it is coming out this year? Or... Oh, 2025 it says. Not 2024. It comes out next year. We're getting next 2023. That's another thing. With the going back to the Miles Morales thing and talking about, like, titles for characters, or people talk about, you know, is Miles Morales Spider-Man or Peter Parker Spider-Man? Seeing people go X-23 is Wolverine, and then they post that cringy ass panel where she says, "I'm Wolverine," and Logan goes, "You tell him, kiddo." I hate that so much. Especially for Wolverine, because Wolverine isn't a title. Wolverine isn't a title that, like, gets passed around. Wolverine isn't something that, like, oh, we need a Wolverine to take this. No. Wolverine's not like that. Wolverine's, if anything, more of a burden. Wolverine isn't something like, yeah, we gotta pass on the Wolverine mantle. It's not like Batman, where it's like Gotham needs Batman. That's not how that works. I hate that so much when they're like, Laura's Wolverine, and just the most retarded people we've ever seen on Twitter, like, repeating that. It's like, no, she's not. She's Laura. She's X-23. Get a new name. Wolverine's not a mantle. It shouldn't go to anyone. It shouldn't go to Dakin. It shouldn't go to anyone. Logan is Wolverine. If he ever ceased to exist, there's no more Wolverine. That's how it is. There are some characters that don't have a mantle that gets passed on. Not everyone needs a mantle that needs to go to someone else. That's not how that works. It's so dumb. As always nowadays, Comic-Cons are more like pop culture cons than Comic-Cons, so we got more movie news. Yeah. Something that I do think is really cool. I don't know if any of you guys read Berserker, the Keanu Reeves comic, but he does this. He did it this year, and he did it like 2 years ago. He brought the Berserker comic to Hall H, along with Ron Garney and, oh man, I'm blanking. Matt Kent. He brought Ron Carney and Matt Kent. Also, like, the publisher and everyone comes up from Boom Studios too, and that's really cool because that's for a comic book in Hall H. I love that. I'm so happy Keanu does that. So they go up there, and, like, Ron Garney is legitimately one of my favorite artists of all time. He's killed it on Wolverine. He did some cool stuff with Captain America. I love Ron Garney. So to see one of my favorite artists in Hall H with Keanu Reeves talking about a comic book is really cool. And he's like the only guy that does that, because otherwise, the comic books kind of get like smaller stuff, and yeah. So it's really cool to see that. See creators up there, see Keanu boosting them up there. Regardless of what you think of the Berserker comic, I like the Berserker comic. I think it's fun. I don't think it's the greatest thing ever, but I think it's cool, violent comics. I just read the Berserker. Berserker just had like a spin-off little one issue written by Jason Aaron where he's in the Old West, because I love Old West stuff. I love cowboys and all that. So I read that. It was pretty good. And we're getting like a sort of prequel sequel type deal with Berserker. Berserker is trying to about its lore. True. Funny how villains don't have a mantle pass on. Some of them do. Apparently, some of them do. Yeah, you see it happen sometimes. It's within a Wolverine costume. They wouldn't call her Wolverine. They call her chick cosplaying. Yeah. Our major Twitter, like mantles being passed gender suave. I just pay no attention to them because comic Twitter's a joke. That's a good point. It's a good way to look at it. The Punisher ain't a mantle either. Exactly. The Punisher is not something that should be passed on either. Yeah. But the writer's strike last year, San Diego Comic-Con actually felt like Comic-Con again for the first time in a very long time. Yeah, because there wasn't because DC didn't really go all out for their movies and stuff this year, so we didn't get as much. But yeah, I heard about that last year with the writer strike and all that. I heard that same thing too, where like none of the movies and all that were there. So people were like, it felt more like comic convention. It's still a bucket list thing for me to go to San Diego and go to Comic-Con one day. One day I'll do it. I just haven't ever gotten around to doing it yet. Just because, like that is the Comic-Con, and it would be cool to go and see it all. I wouldn't stand in line for any Hall H stuff. I don't care about that. But everything else, there's probably a lot of cool stuff to do. But yeah, the mantle thing, not every character has a mantle that needs to be passed on. We don't need it. But a lot of people feel like you need to, and also it's doing a disservice to these characters because it's holding a lot of these characters back. That could be their own character. Like Falcon doesn't need to be Captain America. Falcon's Falcon. Like that's one of the things where it's like, oh well, why is Bucky Captain America? Well, it's because Winter Soldier is known as a bad guy, so he needed a new moniker. And also, Captain America is something that could be a mantle that could be passed on. But Falcon's like already Falcon. There's no negativity associated with Falcon. If you ever go say let me know. I will do. I hope to. I don't know. Maybe next year. Next year, depending on how life goes, that could be cool. I also got to figure out how to get tickets for it though, because I feel like you have to actually know someone to get tickets, because from what I've heard, they sell out so fast. Will you ever go to NYCC? In 2022, I was in New York at the same time as NYCC, and I didn't even realize it till I got there. And I was like, damn, I could have actually gone to New York Comic Con. So that made me upset. I should have known. Like, it just happenstance. Like, I was on a trip where I went all up and down the East Coast. Like, I went to like, I think like 12 states on the East Coast plus Washington D.C. We just had like a boys trip, went all over there. And I was in New York, and I saw people with like New York City Comic Con badges. And I was like, oh, I could have gone, but I didn't know it was happening when we planned that trip. It would go hard. That'd be fun. That'd be fun. Because right now, I just go to Emerald City Comic Con every year, because that's like right where I live. So I go to Emerald City every year, and occasionally I go to Washington Summer Con. I haven't been to like an out-of-state convention like ever. I've only go to the conventions in the state I live. But San Diego Comic Con is like a bucket list. So that would be cool. But yeah, I'm waiting for Ian to get home so we can watch House of the Dragon, because that new episode's like out happening right now, but Ian's not back yet, so I gotta wait for my brother to get home before I watch that. He's freaking out right now. The Wonder plays Frank because of that controversy with police using Punisher skulls in America, though it's no excuse because some dipshit use Spider-Man symbol they wouldn't do. Yeah, I think Marvel also is like, I don't think anyone actually cares about that. I think that's another one of those Twitter things where it's Twitter cares about that, but Twitter isn't real life. I don't think anyone in real life really cares about the Punisher skull thing. I don't think anyone sees like a cop with a Punisher skull and is like, oh man, that really affects my viewpoint of Marvel and the character of Punisher. I think it's just kind of like dipshits on Twitter that feel that way. I don't think real life people, I don't think anyone going into a comic book shop is like, I was going to buy this new Punisher comic. No, I'm not, because I saw a cop with a Punisher skull. So I think they overreacted to that. I don't think anyone cares. So, you know, and what Jason Aaron did to Punisher was so stupid. Bringing back his dead wife and being, that was, and Rick Remender did it so much better when they tried to resurrect his dead wife, and freaking Punisher sent them straight back. He's like, no, this is not how this is supposed to go. Yeah. Here in Poland, there's Warsaw Comic Con, not gonna lie, but that shit truly feels like Comic Con. Like in America, some actors' interview happen, yes, but it's mostly comics figuring Congress. That's how most comic conventions are in America as well, except for San Diego Comic Con. San Diego Comic Con is the Comic Con. So that's the one where like all the big studios go to. But in America, most other conventions are like what you just described in Warsaw, where it's like it's very much focused on the comics and the creators and like getting cool stuff and like seeing creators talk about stuff. Like that's how Emerald City Comic Con is. Like, yeah. So that's how most of them are. It's just San Diego Comic Con that's like a whole different beast. Ryan's here to have written a half decent episode tonight. I hope so too. Thoughts on how many random stares Rhaenyra and Alicent are going to give tonight? You watch House of the Dragon? I feel like I didn't know that. Soundwave. I have not liked season 2 of House of the Dragon. I liked season 1. I thought it was pretty good. Season 2, I have not been a fan of. There's been a few good episodes and some moments. But it feels like everyone's kind of like on one of those hamster wheels. Like that's what everyone's like storyline is, where we're just doing the same thing. We're not going anywhere. We're not making any progress. Nothing happens. We're just running in place. And that's like 90% of the storylines this season. It's like, oh boy, Corlys is at the shipyard again talking to his bald son. And the same thing happens as the prior 5 episodes where nothing happens. Oh boy, Daemon is at Harrenhal tripping balls. And nothing happens. Till the last episode. Last episode, something finally happened. But again, we had like 5 issues prior where nothing happened. But the same thing over and over again. Oh boy, Rhaenyra is really upset at her council. Every episode. And she makes it clear that she's mad she isn't able to go out and fight. Every episode. It's like, do we really need this every episode? It's like, why are we hearing the same stuff every single... We're just not getting anywhere. So that annoys me. Especially when it's only an 8-episode season. Like, what you think you'd want to hurry up the pace a bit. Do you think this is the last Deadpool movie we see? No, definitely not. Not with how much money this freaking thing made. Ryan Reynolds got at least one more in him. This is definitely not the last one. Definitely not the last one. I feel like we're definitely getting at least one more. And also, me and Ian were talking about this the other day. It's like, who do you team up with Deadpool with next? I said, like, I think who you team up next with Star-Lord. I feel like you could just send him into space and like they could do whatever, and that could be interesting. But yeah, you could team up Deadpool with a lot of different people and do a lot of cool things. And I think Ryan Reynolds and Chris Pratt together could be cool. How would you bring back the real Punisher, Frank Castle? I'd act like what just happened didn't exist and retcon the hell out of Jason Aaron's run, and that's what I'd do. A mid-adaption. Alicent and Rhaenyra aren't accurate at all. Yeah, I've heard that. I heard that they're not accurate at all. The fandom also worries me with that show. There's like some funny stuff the fandom posts, and then there's other things that I see that like people aren't even here for like these storylines and characters and stuff. Like people are just here for very weird things with House of the Dragon. So, what is your favorite what if story from Marvel? Mine is Frank being Captain America and all that. That was cool. I don't know what my favorite what if is. I didn't really read a lot of the what if stuff. But we're just talking about Elseworlds in general. The Wolverine kills the Marvel Universe I liked a fair bit. Where like everyone was zombified. That was pretty cool. I like that a lot. I mean, Deadpool's teaming up with Spider-Man could make money, but I want a solo Spider-Man movie next. Spider-Man's teamed up with a billion people and is constantly being thrown around in this universe. Now he's finally like in his own world. He's got his apartment. He's lost his girlfriend and his friends. He's on his own. Aunt May's dead. I don't want to see him team up with anyone. I want to see a Spider-Man centric focused Spider-Man story next. That's why I don't want to see Deadpool team up with Spider-Man. Give me more grounded Spider-Man, you know? We've sent him to space. We've had the multiverse stuff. Give me just Spider-Man, you know? Are just there to edge the whole episode, not gonna lie. I agree, yeah. Pretty much. Every episode, all I see is just people being like, oh man, Allison and Rhaenyra want to bang so bad. Like, is that what everyone's here for? What? That's all, yeah. A lot of shippers in that, in the fandom for this. It's, yeah. Deadpool vs. Thanos will make shit tons of money. Josh back from being Cable and both fight for Death Cheeks. I mean, I don't think they're ever gonna do that, but I would love just a Deadpool and Cable movie. That would be awesome. You shouldn't rely on battles and stuff to be entertaining with the original Game of Thrones show initially didn't, they're right, but Hot DC is still boring all the same. Yeah, that's the thing, because when people talk in Game of Thrones, it moved the plot forward. Things happened, things were revealed. Like, a lot of stuff happened. Instead, in this, like, all the conversations just go in a circle. How many times are, like, the dumbasses on Rhaenyra's council gonna say the same thing? And how many times is Rhaenyra gonna say the same things to friggin' the White Worm and be like, I'm sad that they won't let me go out and fight. It's like every single episode. That's why Jace is one of my favorite characters this season, because Jace is the only guy that actually, like, does stuff. Like, every episode's Jace kind of, like, on a different adventure doing something different. It's like, finally, a character that's not just perpetually in a circle. And Damon was my favorite character last season, but this season I'm annoyed with his storyline because it's the same thing every episode. I hope Lanterns won't end up being another Acolyte. I didn't watch The Acolyte, so I can't say, but Tom King's writing that show, so... I hate that James Gunn chose Tom King as his go-to comic book guy. Like, there's so many other guys he could have chosen. When he's like, I'm going to choose someone from the comics to come in to show that I love the comic books. We got comic writer. And then he chose Tom King of all people. Flowverse fandom and Hot D fandom are the worst ones when it comes to shippers. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That literally shippers ruined Arrow with Felicity getting with Oliver. And they were like cute at first, like prior to them getting together, prior to all that. Like in season 1, there was like cute little stuff, and I was like, oh, that's fine. And then they made it all about those two. Like Felicity became a way more important character than she should have, and it's bad. They're trying to devise 50 different ways to kill all of the Green Stevs. That's another thing that's really dumb about that show. Is it's like, oh man, they killed her child Luke. Rhaenyra, who in the book is called Rhaenyra the Cruel, when it turns out in the show, that's just propaganda because Rhaenyra is actually perfect and peaceful. She's not actually Rhaenyra the Cruel. But in the show, they kill her child, and you think she'd be upset about it and try to get revenge or something. But no, Damon's the only one that tries to do that. She's like, I still want peace, and she risks like her entire cause by going over to talk to Alicent and could die in the process. If Alicent actually cared about her kids, Alicent would be like, hey, that's Rhaenyra right there, guards get her. And it's all over. But the writers are like, people want to see Rhaenyra and Alicent together, so we're going to put them together in this episode, even if none of it makes sense at all. It's really stupid. It's really, really stupid. But that's this show this season. They edited. Ooh, I didn't know they did that. It's crazy. Gunn took a picture of so many comic writers on his Superman set. He chose Tom King. I believe John Byrne and Grant Morrison were there. Like, bruh. Dang. Yeah, Tom King. Although I would not trust modern day Grant Morrison, I wouldn't trust with anything. Grant Morrison's written a lot of great things. Modern day, I think Grant Morrison kind of lost marbles. That Superman book he did was so awful. I'm good on Grant Morrison anything right now. But yeah, I would still take him over. I'd still take Grant Morrison over Tom King, though. Really not. Do you agree or disagree with no kill rule of Batman's and Spider-Man's? From a practical standpoint, absolutely not. They would be saving so many lives by killing these guys, especially if you think about something like the Joker, because obviously the Gotham justice system's corrupt. You're never going to actually fix that guy, and he should be put to death. But from a character perspective, I like it, and I don't want Batman to kill. I want him to stay like that, where he doesn't kill. Superman the Authority, yeah. That was the Grant Morrison book. That was so awful. It was genuinely one of the worst comics I've read in like the past 10 years. It's really bad. I covered it in my I did a video of Superman after Bendis, where I covered all the Superman comics after Bendis like left and what was going on, and that one was really bad. But yeah, I think that like killing Joker is only a net positive, especially even if Batman doesn't want to do it. Let Jason do it. Let someone else do it. Let anyone do it. Joker being dead is obviously a net positive for the entire world. Like, if you can't reconcile with that, that's fine, but someone else should be able to kill that guy. I never understood the Grant Morrison love, aside from maybe JLA. I liked a lot of what Grant Morrison has done, but also there's a lot of stuff I don't like that he's done. His Batman run was pretty good for the most part, mainly Batman and Robin. I loved his Batman and Robin run. All-Star Superman's amazing. I love All-Star Superman. JLA's pretty good. His Green Lantern run I thought was kind of interesting at first, and then it just went off the rails and was terrible. Superman the Authority was awful. So Grant Morrison, there's some stuff that I like Grant Morrison does. Other things, not the best. Oh yeah, Grant Morrison's Action Comics. I see a lot of people recently talk about how much they love his Action Comics. I thought his New 52 Action Comics, I thought it was okay. I didn't care for it. It wasn't terrible, but New 52 Action Comics is just gonna... I didn't think it was anything that special. I didn't think that got good until Greg Pak got on it. I liked what Greg Pak did with Action Comics until we got to Superman Truth, and then that was awful. But there's like a couple arcs that Greg Pak does with Aaron Cooter on Action Comics New 52 that's actually pretty good, and then it gets to Superman Truth, and it's abysmal, because that line sucks. That whole like storyline. Both Batman and Spider-Man wouldn't survive. Spider-Man would survive swapping Batman's rogue gallery easy. Batman, probably not. Batman, there's some people Batman could take down, but I think Batman would end up just getting destroyed. Spider-Man could handle Batman's easy. Or not all of them easy. Some of them would definitely give him a hard time, but in the end, he'd come out on top. Spider-Man, I don't think, would struggle too badly. Like, Spider-Man's been through a lot of, like, emotional and freaking, like, psychological distress and everything. He got buried alive by Kraven, dude. Like, I think he can survive, like, Joker and, like, Scarecrow and them, giving him a hard time. I don't think he would, like... It wouldn't be fun, but I think he'd be fine. Are you enjoying Joshua Williamson as Superman? I'm mid on Joshua Williamson as Superman. On his Superman. Some of it's alright. It hasn't been anything too terrible. I hate what he's done with Lex Luthor. Everything he's done with Lex Luthor has been dumb. But aside from the Lex Luthor stuff, I haven't been... Like, the rest of it, I think he has a good voice for Superman. I'm not excited for Lois Lane to be Superwoman and get powers, though. I think that's really stupid. But yeah, if it was announced tomorrow Joshua Williamson's leaving Superman, I wouldn't be like, oh no, unless they announce some idiot taking over, and then I'd be like, Spidey's had to deal with Paul for 4 years. Paul the GOAT. Do you think we'll get another White Knight run, or is Murphy done? I don't know. It sounds like he wanted to do more White Knight, so I feel like we'll probably get more White Knight from him whenever he feels ready. He gets to take his time from those. Those White Knight always sells really well. So I think we'll probably get more. Well, good luck, Kay. I hope you make it to DC Comics, dude. That'd be sick. I mean, yeah, but a lot of people have been hit by fear gas, and they make it out the other side. It wouldn't be a fun ride. But, I mean, he's gone through Mysterio. Mysterio is very similar to Scarecrow in that aspect of seeing a lot of things you don't want to see. So, I think Spider-Man's been through a lot. I think he would survive Scarecrow or Joker. And also, with how much faster and everything he is than Batman, he might knock out Scarecrow before he can even get any fear gas on him. And also Joker, it'd be really hard for Joker to do anything against Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man takes out Joker in about half a second. I don't think, because Peter is really smart and he's very good at this whole being Spider-Man thing. And unless Peter's like dilly-dallying or just messing around, I think he could just take out Joker so fast. If I'm being completely honest with that. I think Bane could give him some problems. I'm talking about like Nightfall, actually smart Bane, like good Bane, not terribly written Bane. I think Bane could give him some problems. I still think he comes out on top. But yeah, there are some characters that could give him problems. But I don't think Joker and Scarecrow are like that big of a deal for Spider-Man. I did the math, and Batman issue 1000 will be released in August 2031. So we still got a little bit to go. Yeah, none of these Marvel didn't. Did Marvel have any comic book announcements at Comic-Con? I think they just had like movie stuff. DC had a bunch of comic book announcements. Nothing that got me too excited. Oh, we got the Iron Fist 50th anniversary special, where you'll get to see Danny Rand as Iron Fist, and then we'll go back to the terrible where they're just mistreating Iron Fist. Or what if it's just like 10 stories of just how much they hate Danny Rand? Because Marvel has been treating Danny Rand like just garbage lately. We got that. We got a Deathlock is getting a 50th anniversary special, which is very random. What up, Logan? Dixon Bane would destroy Spider-Man. I'm sorry. I don't think your Bane avatar definitely isn't any hint of bias at all. Like I said, I think he definitely gives Spider-Man problems. I don't know if he'd beat him, but he'd definitely give him a lot of problems. Have you read any of the Malcolm comics? So thoughts? I think they're fun enough for a gimmick. I read them forever ago. I honestly don't remember much at all, but I think I remember them just being kind of like dumb fun. But I haven't read Malcolm in forever, so I can't really give you a great opinion on that. Some people get mad, but a great Batman story would be to show Batman's flaws when he's new vigilante clearing Gotham streets and it being safer than under Batman. I mean, that's basically what's so funny about Truth, Justice, the American Way. The elite come in and start freaking offing villains and like doing things better than Superman. That's basically a Batman version of what's so funny about Truth, Justice, the American Way. Yeah, Marvel didn't like announce anything at Comic-Con comic-wise. Blood Hunt we already know is going on. They showed some Blood Hunt issue 5 stuff. I'm looking around to see if they did anything. We already knew Joe Kelly and Ed McGuinness were on Amazing Spider-Man. They kind of like showed like some designs for that, but that was it. Yeah, they didn't really. Oh yeah, we got the trailer for Wolverine Revenge. I'm excited for Wolverine Revenge. It's a mini series from Greg Capullo is going to be on art, and Jonathan Hickman's going to be writing it. And again, it's a mini series, so I think Hickman will do a good job, because as long as you don't have Hickman go back past about 7 issues, he does pretty good. Oh, we got West Coast Avengers from Gary Duggan, which doesn't excite me because I don't think Gary Duggan's a very good writer. Him and Danny Kim will be on that. One World Under Doom is coming next year. So I guess that's like a big event. One World Under Doom. They didn't really say much about it. They just said it's coming next year. So we're getting a Doom event, Doctor Doom event. If we see Doom with like Doctor Strange powers, it looks like. Yeah, I guess that was their big event. Their big announcement was they have a West Coast Avengers series, and One World Under Doom will be the big Marvel Comics event next year. That's basically all Marvel announced for the comic books, it seems. So DC announced a bunch of stuff. The Iron Fist special has no returning legacy writers. That's Marvel for you. They do not like Danny Rand. Who's getting treated worse? Hal Jordan. Danny Rand's getting treated way worse. Hal Jordan has maybe the best comic at DC right now. Jeremy Adams is writing a really good Green Lantern comic. It's getting bogged down by absolute power crap, but it's one of the best, maybe the best comic at DC right now. It's really good. I love pretty much anything Jeremy Adams does is great. His Flash run was great. His Green Lantern run's been really good. His Flash miniseries with Jay Garrick was fantastic. Jeremy Adams, if you're looking for a writer to check out, check out anything Jeremy Adams is doing. He's really good. Did you talk about RDJ's Doom? Yeah, I talked about that at the beginning of the stream. Have you read anything about the new Transformers? I read like issue 10, didn't understand what was going on. I only read it because like that week I was like, I'm gonna read every single comic that came out this week, and I read like 50 something comics. How would you react to the DCU drops the American Way? Not surprised, because they've always tried to get rid of it because they think it's like bad. They have America bad always. So I wouldn't be surprised, but I think it's dumb. I think it's really stupid. Like the thought of like the American way being bad or harmful is so dumb. Or thinking it's like exclusionary of other people outside of America is stupid. Better tomorrow, better than American way. Sorry, but Cap is the American hero, Superman is for the world. That's not true at all. Superman is the quintessential American hero. He started all of this. He started all this with Western comics. He's from freaking 2 Jewish guys in Ohio created him. He's an American icon. He is the American way. Nah. Better Tomorrow is such a generic, stupid rebrand. Better Tomorrow is one of the dumbest things. Better Tomorrow is like a freaking, you'd see on an ad at Walmart. We're lowering our prices for a better tomorrow. That's what that is. Well, I hear Ian open the door, which means it's time to watch House of the Dragon. But yeah, I also did a whole video. I did a whole video on the American way and why it's dumb that they tried to get rid of it or think it's bad. Because there was a YouTuber that made a really dumb as hell point about it. So I made, if you haven't watched it, I made this video talking about what does true justice American way mean for Superman. So, hello, Loki.
Loki going stream?
Loki's right here.
Still streaming?
Yeah, I'm still live.
Look at everyone. This is Shadow's best friend.
Try to pick him up.
This is Shadow's best friend, Loki.
We're dog sitting a friend's dog right now. And that's,
this is the bestest boy. It's a shadow. It's a shadow.
he doesn't like.
Go see Wolverine and Deadpool. We're going to see it tonight. Go see it.
Yeah, it's really struggling. It's a small indie movie. You might not have heard of it. Not very many people are going to see it.
Comics is really good. I also just heard Dylan said that this is how Jordan might have the best book right now, so we have to read that now.
You should. We can do a freaking. I have every issue. We can do it. We can do a whole nerd talk on it. Finally, we can talk about comics on freaking nerd talk for once. Well, don't you gotta take a shower? Are you or not? He just got back from flag football, so. All right, I guess we're gonna go watch House of the Dragon. But anyways, that's my brother. So, if you don't listen to the podcast, you're probably like, who the hell is that? But anyways. Yeah, I made this video about, so if you want to know what my thoughts are on what this true justice American way means for Superman, I put it all into this 5-minute video. I thought it turned out pretty good. KS, how tall are you? I'm 6'1". I'm 6'1". Yeah, Superman's American. Well, Superman will now be wearing a Walmart cape. Hell yeah. Yes, High Top. High Top was the one who was like, the American way is so dumb. It's like, you're an idiot. Also, like, again, it was made by 2 like Jewish kids in Ohio who like grew up during World War II. You know, it came out in 1938. They were thinking about how, you know, great America is because we're fighting Nazi Germany, and then to think, oh, but America's so bad now. It's like, dude, what? Crazy. I need a story that's the answer question. I think you gotta try to figure it. Well, he read the one Titans comic that got lost to time forever. But yeah, maybe we'll do that. Anyways, I gotta go watch House of the Dragon. Thank you to everyone who showed up to this stream. This was super fun. I appreciate it. I'll hopefully have a couple videos out this week. I want to do a video talking about what I think are the best comics. currently out right now that you should be checking out. Because when I've done some videos recently talking about DC Comics, I had some comments being like, every comic sucks now, I'm not reading anything. And I want to be a video and be like, hey, there are a lot of bad ones. There are also some good ones, you know? So, yeah. But anyways, thank you everyone for showing up the stream. I'm going to go watch House of the Dragon. Hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend for however many hours we got left. And I will see y'all later. Goodbye, everyone.